Good evening. I've called this meeting to order, the April 29th Select Board meeting at 7:03. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by our friends at WACA-TV, cable TV, and live stream on YouTube. Remote participation is available using the Zoom video conferencing platform. Any disruption with the video conferencing platform will result in the platform being shut down for the evening. In the event of a disruption, broadcasting will continue on WACA-TV and live stream on YouTube. Anyone that's in attendance physically in this audience, I ask to acknowledge if they are recording tonight's meeting personally on their own. No? Okay, very good. Thank you. And let's proceed with tonight's agenda. First on the agenda is citizens' participation. Anybody that's here in person or on Zoom, please raise your hand on Zoom, and those that are here, please step forward to the podium. Identify yourself, address, name, and what you would like to discuss. Good evening.
Mark Tassoni, 119 Main Street. Good evening.
How are you?
All right, so far. So this is what it looks like live, huh? Okay, I'm here because I want the next town meeting. Next town meeting is next week, and it's about the overrides is the main theme. And as I was told, it's not the override for the schools. My question to that is, why wasn't anything else considered on the override?
When you say considered, what are you referring to?
Any other municipal departments, most likely the citizens, the community center and senior citizens.
Okay.
So, Mark, I think, if you look at the budget document that's online and everything, you'll see increased appropriations across several different municipal departments, including the senior center. And those are not being paid for this year through override funds. Those are being paid through extra funds through the stabilization fund. So that was a conscious choice this year. We had looked at including municipal departments as part of a tax increase. And ultimately the decision was made not to do that this year, mainly because the mechanism was very confusing.
Would that have anything to do with the connections or the non-connections between federal government and state government?
I wouldn't necessarily see a direct nexus the way you're talking about it, but I would say in general, the reason why municipalities like Ashland, one of the reasons we're experiencing the pressures that we are today fiscally is because of federal funding or lack of federal funding.
So basically, the administration in Washington does not see citizens over 60 as an important part of life. So from there, from part of the school, I always got to ask the question: would the override help the school administration, teachers, and all that in their pay raises and stuff like that involved in any sort of percentage work?
Well, I know there's some non-discretionary contractual things that they have to address, and so that's part of any associated expenditure increase. What I will say, and I repeated this at the forum, is I don't feel like the superintendent and his team or the school committee or anybody in a position of making decisions feel like the school department is just asking for money. They are taking this as an opportunity to restructure their finances to make it more sustainable, and this is part of that strategy. So I feel confident in saying that.
So I'll come back, excuse me, I'll come back with one more thing with the fire, the police department side of things. That they are out there, especially where I am, in the Ashland house next door. I've been hearing the fire department, sirens, paramedics and all that every other day, 2 or 3 times a day. And they are doing more of a serious town issues with the people and emergencies and stuff like that than the schools would try to teach the students who are not ready out there yet.
Mark, I think they're different jobs that they're doing, and very critical to the fabric of our community, all of them. And I hope people look at them that way, as maybe they're different jobs, but they're equally as important to our community.
Yeah, I'd just like to answer that a little bit too, Mark. I think that fact that you hear multiple sirens a day is indeed part of the reason why we are adding 4 firefighters, to the force, because we have multiple calls at simultaneously, often meaning that 2 ambulances are out and that we have to then go to a neighboring community for mutual aid. So we are trying to address that. In terms of, students, are there emergency situations with students? Well, certainly sometimes there are. But that's not the main objective of the school department. The main objective of the school department is to educate the future citizens of the country, really. And, I think that any democracy, then one of their most important missions, we might say tonight, is to prepare good citizens, smart, educated citizens to, make the country what it is, a wonderful country to live in. So certainly public education is very important, and I would argue that it's one of the most important things we do as a community is educate our children and prepare them for the world. And if we don't do that through public means, if we don't support our education through public means, then education becomes something that only the wealthy can afford to give their children. So that's something that's very critical in my mind.
In a small sense, I can agree with that, but in a larger sense, the next generations may not have to go through what's going on now with emergencies in the school. In the schools, there could be a emergency through students doing their own harm to their own health. But out of the streets here, where the paramedics are doing the jobs, the safety building is a great thing to have here because they're working together. But to have an override for the schools only in the future, about maybe 5 to 10 years down the road, what's going to happen when the override of students and enrollment gets higher again? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your concerns, and a lot of people feel the same way about that. But, I know that there's been a committee that's been set up, and they've been working diligently to get the information out. Because one of the things that we've known from the past efforts, there was not enough information to provide to make people make a sound decision when they come time to vote. So you can't say that this time around. That information is up there and out there. Good evening, sir.
My name is Bill Gath. My residence is 10 Beverly Road in Natick. Obviously, I'm not a resident. I am an honorary citizen.
You mean honorary?
I was going to say that sometimes refer to it as ornery. I am a member of many groups, as you know, in Ashland. But I am here tonight representing myself, none of those groups. I do not speak for them. I'm speaking on my own behalf. Tonight I'm here to ask about the donated bench policy. I have some questions, the copy here is more than enough, because you have so few people, that I have about the policy, and I don't know whether you want me to ask those questions now, or whether you want me to wait and listen to the debate you have. I assume it's on the agenda this evening.
It is.
I can do whatever you wish.
I think our public hearing is supposed to begin at 7:15, so
Yeah,
maybe
so I have
wait
to-
for,
I have 1 minute to go before I have to stop what we're doing
Okay.
to address the hearing that's at 7:15.
Okay, I don't mind waiting.
Okay. Thank you, William. Excuse me. All right. We have to do this by the book, or else I get myself in trouble. By the board, I have 2 minutes to go. So with that, in those 2 minutes, I would just quickly like to go to the consent agenda and see if we want to approve the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
so moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda as presented?
Aye.
That's 3.
I just want to mention that it did include some gifts and donations,
Yes,
and,
yep.
you know, really, a lot of those gifts and donations were to the emergency fund. Many of them were from the program in the fall, leading up to the holidays, that our Human Resources Department runs. And so I just want to thank all the people in the community who were able to, in some way, support our families.
Yep. Thank you, Claudia, for doing that. So that vote was 3-0 and 2 absent.
You did good.
You done good. Okay, it is now 7:15. I announced a public hearing, and I have to read the legal notice. The notice is hereby given that the Select Board will conduct a hearing regarding the transfer of an all-alcohol liquor license, pledge of inventory, and pledge of collateral. The applicant is Newman Data Corp., DBA Main Street Wine and Spirits, located at 197 Main Street in Ashland. And I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Hunaman? Hanuman. Thank you. Data Corp., 197 Main Street, Ashland, Mass. 01721. A public hearing will be held on this matter on Wednesday, April 29th, 2026, at 7:15. Persons wishing to be heard on this matter are invited to attend the public hearing in person or by logging into the Zoom meeting platform. Interested parties who are unable to attend the hearing may submit written comments to the Select Board's office, Town Hall, Ashland, Mass. 01721, 101 Main Street, or by emailing Susan Roby at sroby@ashlandmass.com. And it's signed by me, Joseph Magnani, as chair. We have to take a vote to open the hearing, or we just open up the hearing as is?
I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3-0 and 2 absent. Those that are here for the meeting, if you would like to come up and represent yourself, please come to the platform, to the podium. Platform, all right. Good evening, and if you would identify yourself, please?
Sure. Good evening. My name's Jackson Christian. I'm an attorney at Megaludis and Gakis, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, which is Hanuman Data Corp. And also here on behalf of the applicant are Neil Patel, who is the president, treasurer, secretary, and director of the applicant. And then also Pooja Patel is here, and she is the proposed manager of record for the store.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And you also have a gentleman out back who has a vested interest in this hearing as well, I would assume.
Right, yeah, I
Yeah,
think he's
right.
here on behalf of the seller.
Mr. Goldberg. I didn't recognize you with that. Looks good. I wish. Go ahead, sir.
Sure. So I have a brief outline of what's going on here if you want me to go over that.
If
really
you would,
quickly.
please.
Sure. So as I said, my name is Jackson Christian. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, which is Hanuman Data Corp. So Neil Patel, he formed Hanuman Data Corp to purchase the liquor license and the business assets from Ashland Public Market, Inc., which does business as Main Street Wine and Spirits here in Ashland at 197 Main Street. So when they purchase the store, most things are basically going to stay the same. It's going to have the same name, same floor plan, and everything like that. It's just going to be under new management and ownership. So when they purchase the store, Pooja Patel is going to be the manager of record, and she's gone through the training to be TIP certified, and she's familiar with the rules and regulations for serving alcohol in Massachusetts, so she's prepared to do that safely and responsibly. One other detail of the transfer is that Rockland Trust Company is providing financing for the purchase, and as part of that, they're requiring that they get a pledge of the liquor license and the inventory at the store, so that's another thing we'll need approval for. So all in all, there's just 3 things that we're asking the select board for tonight. It's approval of the transfer of the license to Hanuman Data Corp. It's approval of Pooja Patel as the manager of record for the store. And the third is approval of the pledge of the liquor license and the inventory to Rockland Trust Company. Other than that, we're happy to answer any questions that the board has or just discuss any parts of the transfer.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I'll open up the questioning. Any board members have any questions about the transfer or what we need to do? Ready?
So I guess I just wanted to welcome you guys to Ashland and see if you've managed similar stores in the past or what your experience has been.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I've experienced. I've managed a store in Natick and also in Rhode Island. So I've been in the industry for a while, and I have some background. And I actually was from Ashland for a long time. I went to high school, middle school, everything over here. So, yeah.
So it's kind of coming back home, huh?
Yeah.
Almost full circle. Good for you. A quick question. I'm sorry, Claudia, do you have anything?
No, I was just going to say, and you bought, you went in and bought candy in that store.
Yeah, back in the day, I was not old enough.
Yeah, so I said, you were buying candy.
Trying to catch them.
Yeah.
Do you know then that, and I don't know, Mr. Goldberg could probably share a little bit of the history of the store. I think it would be nice for the community to hear that, if you don't mind. Talk about how many years I think your father started that store in this community and your uncle. You have to step to the
Come on
microphone,
up,
though.
Bill, so that way they can hear you. This is historical. We need to. I know you don't like to speak publicly. I know that.
William Goldberg. Mostly my address is 197 Main Street here in Ashland. I reside in Hopkinton. The history of Ashland Public Market is, I'll be as brief and concise as I can, succinct rather, is in 1917, my grandfather's brother-in-law asked him for a $2,000 loan to buy a business and a house in Ashland. 2 years later, that brother-in-law, instead of paying him back, suggested that John Goldberg be a partner with him. That happened in 1919. So since 1919, the Goldberg family has had a business in Ashland, and it's gone through many different changes over the years, and just now it's time to let someone else have a chance to make it into their vision.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's,
There's a lot of history we can't say
no,
on
no,
air.
no.
Yeah.
We need to, yeah. We'll let that for another day.
Right.
So,
But that's pretty much it. We've been in town really since 1917. We bought my grandfather's brother-in-law bought the business from a man named Johnny Jones. And
Johnny Jones.
One day while I was in the town hall, they had the display out on the first floor, and there was actually a sales receipt, Johnny Jones, and I took a picture of it. Of course, I don't know where that picture is now, but that's it. That's the long and short of it.
So 100-year plus business in town.
Sure.
109.
Yeah, very nice, and I'm sure that the owners have a lot to be thankful for. You have big shoes to fill, and I'm sure you'll do just fine. And Bill, publicly, I just want to thank you and your family for the number of years that you've been very supportive over the years to all the different groups in town that have come and asked for assistance. You never said no. You always said yes, and it's always greatly appreciated. Well-deserved rest. I hope you enjoy your time off. I hope you play golf. I hope you enjoy the beach, because I know your dad was a workaholic. Though he loved to sing.
He did.
He loved to sing, so he always had enjoyment doing that. I hope you find time to spend with your family and enjoy your years of retirement.
Well, I'm not retiring.
Okay, good. I hope not. You're too young
I
to
go
retire.
crazy.
All right.
But thank you, Joe. I appreciate
Thank you. Well, we appreciate what you've done for Ashland and keeping the store up as nice as you have over the years. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to add that, thank you. We often, we talk about historic buildings sometimes, but, this is more than a historic building, really. It's a historic family-run business for 109 years. That's pretty powerful. And I know Mr. Magnani, I believe, worked in the store for quite a while. I know that my husband, as a young man, worked there, and my brother-in-law. So there's a lot of history and feelings for people who live in this community even still today about your store and your family. And so I too just want to say thank you for being such a great part of the community for so many years. And we entrust it to that you've chosen a family that will do well by the town and well for them as also. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it.
And I'll just add thanks to, I don't have as quite of a history as these two, but I know, like, my husband's in your store all the time, so.
He has a little history with
Medfield.
Medfield.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, so it's all related,
All
so.
good stuff. Bullard's Market.
Yeah, my husband lived across the street from Bullard's Market.
Really? I'll be,
Yeah,
Which was your uncle's.
That's
yeah, it was your uncle's, Alan's.
Right.
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And I can say too that stories still come to the Thanksgiving table when my in-laws are there.
So, but thank you, and I'm glad that it seems like the new owners are going to be picking up where you left off and bringing their own vision to the store, and
Look forward to it.
we do.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Okay, folks, there are a couple of quick questions that I do have. I know, Claudia, if you were all set, did you have any? Okay. You're going to keep the same store hours?
Yes, indeed. As of right now, we're planning to keep everything the same. Maybe perhaps we go from 8:30 to 9, but right now, I believe on the application, we've submitted for 8 to 9.
I actually didn't see any,
Yeah, so I don't think that was addressed in the
yeah,
application.
it wasn't.
so,
That's why I asked.
But so, I guess that would be something, if you could put on there 9 now, I don't know if that's something that the town has any specific policies on or anything like that. I know that, the hours go to 11 on like a statewide level.
Yeah.
But, I think that as long as you guys were willing to have the hours, like, that would be great for Neil, and then it's not necessarily that they're intending to have it open
We're
that
not
late.
intending to stay open past 9.
Okay, it used to be 10 o'clock. It used to be 8 to 10.
Those are our hours, but as the attorney said, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, right, that's right, within that time, in that time frame. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's what happens when you get old. You have to get to sleep a little faster.
Yep.
You can stay open, you're younger.
Yeah, I think 9 o'clock is still the time, that 9:30 perhaps is the time we're still looking at. We're not trying to stay open past 10, in no way.
And the employees that you currently have, you still have the same employees, and your wife is going to be the new store manager, and she's tip certified. Are the other employees tip certified as well? I didn't see, and I don't see Susan up there.
She is.
for me to
She's
ask.
up there.
That-
Susan's up there.
Sue, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but do all the other employees need to be tip certified as well? And do we have that on record, just to make sure we have, you know, copies of that?
Yes, whomever is going to be working there is going to be tip certified. I'm going to ensure that we take care of that. If someone's not, we take care of
Okay.
it before anything moves forward.
Okay, because I saw your wife's certification, tip certification as part of the application. So Susan, are those other tip certifications on file with that license?
So Joe, as this progresses through, they will have to complete our hours of operation. They'll have to sign off on the liquor
Okay.
policy and all that. That is still to come.
Okay, thank you. So I'm jumping the hurdles a little bit, okay. I appreciate that, thank you. I just want to make sure we do everything by the book, so that way you folks can have a smooth transition and do what you need to do.
Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Were there any letters of support or non-support with respect to this transfer, Sue, that may have come through the email?
We have not heard anything.
Okay, great, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, those were the questions that I had. I look for,
I do have one question
Yeah.
for Susan while she's up here. So did everything that was included in our packet, it's complete as far as the information that we need from them tonight?
for the licensing
Susan?
board.
That's correct.
Okay,
Ultimately, the first step of the process is them completing the ABCC paperwork. That goes into them, their investigators come out, they go through the whole process. As that progresses through, because we've transitioned to OpenGov, I will then reach out to them, excuse me, I'll reach out to them and have them start our paperwork, which will include the certifications, the liquor policy, and all the other things that we require on our end.
okay, that's
So
great.
that's
And then,
probably answered your questions earlier.
but they don't need to come back in front of us at the end of that, or do they?
No,
No,
no.
okay, okay. Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that additional information. That's very, very helpful. Okay, so at this juncture, I will entertain closing the discussion and hearing at this point.
I'll make a motion to close.
There a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's 302. And seeing that there are no other questions or discussions that we have to follow?
Nope, the only thing I have a question on,
Yeah.
and it's more of a procedural thing. So if you could repeat the three things that you need from us this evening.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that way we have record of all the things.
request, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so the three things are, the first one is approving the transfer of the liquor license to the applicant, Hanuman Data Corp. The second is going to be approving Pooja Patel as the manager of record for the store. And the third is going to be approving pledges of the inventory and the liquor license to Rockland Trust Company, which is providing the financing for the purchase.
Okay, if you can, pledges of inventory
Yeah, so inventory and the liquor license.
and liquor license to Rockland Trust?
Rockland Trust Company, yes.
Yeah, so say I'm unable to pay my financing, the bank's gonna wanna come in.
Yep.
That's basically.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so,
So on this motion, we'd have to, we have three,
yeah.
Can we do
hold on.
them together?
yeah,
Yep.
well, I was going to say bundle them.
Yeah, hold on, let me just, hold on. Okay. Okay. All right, so I will make a motion to approve the transfer of liquor license to Hanuman Data Corp. I would include a motion to approve the Pooja Patel as the manager of record and approve the pledges of inventory and the liquor license to Rockland Trust Company.
Second.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
That works for you, sir?
That is great.
Okay.
I love it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3-0, 2 absent. Congratulations. We wish you the very best.
Thank you.
And,
And welcome back to Ashland, too.
yeah, welcome to Ashland.
And what's the
Back.
timing,
Welcome
what's
back
the
to
timing
Ashland.
of everything
So
moving forward?
usually, once it gets sent to the ABCC, we'll hear back in like 2 to 3 months, just
Okay.
depending on how busy they are. Could be like 30 to 90 days. Sometimes it's kind of random, it feels like. But once this gets passed along, the investigator will reach out to me and I'll get them any other information they need and we'll be in contact as far as that goes.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
great.
good. Well, good luck.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
We'll
folks.
see you guys soon.
Appreciate it. The best of luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Look forward to
Thank you.
seeing you
Thanks,
again.
Bill.
Thank you. Bill, thank you again, my friend. God bless. Okay. I did stop Mr. Gath from, we do have a presentation at 7:45, so we still have about 10 minutes, Bill, so.
Yeah, so why don't we talk about the whole bench policy now?
Yeah.
We'll just move it up in the
Move it up.
agenda.
Yep.
And we'll talk about the bench policy. I don't know if there's anybody, I don't know if anybody else needed citizens' participation. I don't know
Don't
if,
see- Okay, so what we're doing, folks, that are listening on the Zoom platform, we are moving the bench policy up to this timeframe where we have a few minutes to go before we have other presentations that are being done. And you have, what you had, okay. One of, we have questions that were provided to us by Mr. Gath regarding the donated bench policy. You don't mind, I'll just read this real quick. Understands that the Select Board has not yet approved this. We're working on that tonight. We're discussing that tonight. We're asked by a former Select Board member for another bench, which was ordered and paid for, and wanted to know why do we have this policy? I think, Mr. Gath, the reason why this policy is being brought up is that there were some other groups that presented and provided benches, donated benches in people's names in memory of or in honor of. And one, they have to be ADA compliant. The area that these benches need to be placed, they have to be installed correctly. They have to be ADA compliant. If not, then the town becomes liable for the installation that wasn't done properly, and that there's a liability matter that comes with that. So that would be one of the answers to that. Actually, when we discussed this a little bit last week, one of the questions that I had asked was, you know, I would love to see local vendors get involved in this, because we try to keep businesses local and support local businesses. And yet we have approved bench sales from a company in California and another one in Indiana. I questioned that myself, but I don't know if there are other bench companies that are available or meet the criteria on that. So
So,
can
I can kind of pop in a little
Sure.
bit, because the reason that, as far as when we talked about it at the last meeting, so it's to be consistent. So it's to be consistent with the benches that we have in our downtown. So we literally, I think the vendors are the same vendors that were used for the downtown project. Am I correct? And and the two benches are, I think one of them is like on-road and one is off-road, or something similar to that. I know Catherine probably has better intel than I do, or maybe not.
or maybe not. Who knows?
But we're trying to be consistent with what we have and have a process in place, so that if people want benches in the name of whomever, that there's a process in place. And so that's why we're doing this. And I think it's good to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, I certainly understand all that. I think that Mr. Gath here has a couple of questions regarding benches that were already either placed and/or ordered and paid for. Is that true, Mr. Gath, that the concern is?
One installed and one ordered by a line.
Yeah, why don't you come back up to the microphone just so we can,
The folks that are listening in can hear a little better.
so previously, there's been a bench that was bought and paid for, and it was already installed at the Arboretum, is that what I understand?
Yes.
Okay, and who, I guess who,
DPW notified the line. I am just answer.
Yeah, I know
questions,
you are,
right?
I know.
But notified the Lions that they pulled it out because it didn't adhere to their bench policy.
Did the Lions get permission before they put the bench in?
Lions get permission before they do everything.
Okay.
And I would point out, there's a bench by the post office. Been there for years, doesn't deteriorate, all the composite materials. The explanation that there was a problem with the bench and wasn't handicapped accessible, I believe was the bench in memory of Izzy that was supposed to be placed on the patio at the community center. The patio got delayed, so we were told to place it where it is at the moment. 6 months after it was placed there, we were told it had to be moved. We were told it wasn't compliant for the ADA. We haven't moved it. But apparently there's not going to be a patio at the community center, so you gotta decide where it's gonna go. And I understand the town is, that was a very expensive bench made by a monument company, not in this town, but in an adjacent town. And then a plow hit it this winter and broke the legs, and the town is now paying $1,500 to have the legs replaced. So it's just, I don't think you need a whole bench policy to cover one problem bench. I do question what I say here is there's going to be a $1,500 fee to engineer a spot where a bench is going to go, and the benches we're paying are less than 1/3 of $1,500. So I don't think you're going to get many people that are going to be willing to donate benches. I know you have some fancy benches around the public library that were donated by groups, and those are fancy, expensive ones. But I was just shocked to see this policy that hadn't even been voted on and approved already in effect and taking place.
Yeah, I mean, I understandably so. I think I agree with you that if that happened prior to this policy, that we need to investigate and figure this out, right, and make it all right. And I think there must be some benches in town that were purchased and installed prior to this. I mean, this policy doesn't exist yet, right?
Right.
So there must be some benches in town,
And the
so,
Lions have donated those too.
so wouldn't those, fall under,
Oh, I think there's one at the Stone Park too, by Cherry Street,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
I think this was for benches moving forward, weren't necessarily going to
right, that seems like,
retroactively, kind of apply to it.
yeah, so maybe the DPW was didn't realize that this was still in process and that it needs to play itself out here.
Well, I'm unaware, who granted permission for it to be in the Arboretum?
I don't know, whoever requested the bench, we don't volunteer to spend money. We usually get asked by somebody, and we had been asked by a former select board member to order another bench for somewhere, and we ordered the bench and have paid for it, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just trying to find out about this policy, that's all.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that any bench that, I mean, I think we have to get some more details about what the process that's happened here, but I think that this policy doesn't exist right now, so anything that was agreed upon before needs to move forward.
If it was agreed upon, I would agree.
I don't.
I don't know the details of it, okay? I can't tell you who
Yeah.
requested what, or I don't keep, I'm not involved
Who
in
should,
that
who
stuff.
should we talk to find out what happened, do you know?
If you wish, I will ask the Lion in response to the benches, who requested it, how it was approved, and all that stuff.
That would be helpful, I
I'll
think.
be happy to do that and send it to you.
That would be great.
Yeah. I think our concern with the Arboretum, which is, it was brought to my attention, and I also, I have to say, I approved it being removed, as long as it was stored at DPW, didn't want to, throw it away.
Why would you remove it if this policy wasn't in place?
Because, as far as we could tell, nobody had granted permission for it to be there.
Oh.
As much as I can appreciate, kind of the notion of it. I think just having, you know, benches kind of show up around different places, especially on town property, can become problematic. Would you not agree?
I completely agree. But I think we should find out what really happened.
I would agree with that,
Yeah.
Bill.
Yep.
I would agree with that.
So in light of this discussion, then I would, and seeing that we don't have a complete board yet, and there's three of us, I mean, we have a quorum that we could vote if we wanted to, but would you entertain holding off and taking a vote tonight until we get the answers to the questions that were raised tonight?
Well, this is for going forward.
Right.
So I think we'll figure out what happened with the benches, like at the Arboretum.
And we have thought of other places where we could put that, put those benches as well.
Yeah, there was a list of locations and the number of benches that were available at those sites. I believe there was like 6 of them.
Well,
Well,
there were
that's
a couple of
that's-
others.
Yeah,
That's
right.
different.
That's
Part of
different.
this
It's part of the
policy.
policy, right.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the one thing that I would say too is, and I understand that going forward, we might want to make, certainly we want them all to be ADA compliant. But I mean, I guess my thought too was it is expensive. You're probably not going to have many people wanting to purchase a bench in
and pay $1,500.
memory of
Just
somebody.
saying, I'm 81, and I'm very fond of Ashland, even though I don't live here.
We
And
know.
I was anticipating doing some benches with the permission of the town. But there's no way I can do it at $1,500 a pop just for the engineering.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how realistic it is to, you know, to consider whether or not these numbers could be in some way reduced, or is there some place that we could have benches that are less expensive that would work, or, I mean, those are just some questions I had about it. It did seem like it would be nice to have something that was a little more affordable too. I mean, you know, maybe there are certain locations where we absolutely need to have these benches, and maybe there's nothing else less expensive that we can really consider. But that was just what I wondered about.
I would ask each of you to observe the one at the post office. It's been there a number of years.
And I'm wondering if there's other things besides benches that could be appropriate remembrances for people as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Bike racks,
A clock, no.
clock
Yeah.
that needs to be repaired.
Then you have to spray it for ticks.
Stop it.
I thank the board for their consideration.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Bill.
Thanks, Bill, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Do we want to take a vote on this tonight? I just think we have too many questions to.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we,
Yeah, we can wait.
Okay, all right, so we'll table this for another meeting until we get the answers to the questions that were asked, and see if we can tweak the policy to some degree when it comes to some of the figures that are out there as to what it may cost for engineering and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think this was mainly to excavate, that sounds major, but to dig and then to pour the concrete pad and all that, to put the forms up and stuff.
Well, we always have the laborers training center. Always love pouring concrete,
We've had good discussions with them.
whether people have feet or not.
True.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gath. Thank you, everybody. All right, moving right along, 7:45, and we're 7:46, we're almost there. Ashland Cultural Council, presentation on traffic box projects, and I see Ms. Bresnick here. Donna, if you would be so kind to come on up. Tara's not going to be, or is she online? I don't see it. No? Just you?
Got me.
That's good enough.
What can I say?
Is your presentation available? You have it? Okay, great.
Is mine available? You have it, right?
Yeah, we have it, yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure, so that way folks back home
Sure.
that are watching can see it as well.
Right. So the Ashland Cultural Council has a dream, and our dream is to have decorated traffic boxes in town. I personally have seen them in many towns in Massachusetts and thought this would be a wonderful idea for our town as well. We want to include students from the high school. We want to include residents as people who decorate these boxes. And luckily for us, we actually had a young lady who has applied for a grant, which we've given her, and she will be supervising these traffic boxes. And she has done these, let's see, she just finished a project in Amherst, and she just decorated one in Holliston. So, and here I am to get, I guess I have dealt with the traffic committee. I've spoken to Mike Duca, and Tara did come to the last traffic committee meeting and questions were answered. So I feel as though it's time to start painting. And she did send us a presentation.
Okay. Do you want to just move along with the presentation?
Yeah.
As best as you can, Donna, that would be great.
Sure. So she is basing her traffic box pictures on the history of the Sudbury River and also on Ashland's history. The first one is actually based on the Sudbury River, and I think it's part of this. We have given, this is her budget, and we have given her a grant to cover this budget. This was our original timeline, which we've moved it ahead, but it gives you an idea. I have been, as well as the Cultural Council, I have been working on this for about 2 years now. I had started with the idea of using electrical boxes, but with no good luck in finding the people in charge of that, I moved on to traffic boxes. So this is I'd like to do this before I pass away. It's a lifelong dream.
Where are some of the traffic boxes, or where would this first one go? What traffic box?
So the first one is going to go across from the brewery. And after that, I'd like to do one. There are actually 13 boxes in town that are possibilities, but I'd like them, I mean, we're probably only we're going to start slow. It's not going to be a quick process.
Right.
I'd like to do one on Route 135. And then, you know, as I said, we have a list, so I'm going to be looking for spots that are most visible to most people. I know we can't use 126. Those are from the state. But I do have a list here. There's 13 of them.
Okay.
And I thought the one across from the brew would be lovely, so.
And that's at the corner of Front Main Street.
Yep. And is this the design?
This is the design, yep.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. We, and the Cultural Council is going through these beforehand. I mean, we've already checked this one out, added a few things. We do have some artists on our group. I am not one of them. So, yeah, these will be thought out. And we have a second one that one of the high school students has done. So she's still in the process, but also it looks very nice, and we'll check it out in advance. And then I think we're probably going to also open up to residents in town. But she's done a very good job of sending information, going to the high school, speaking to them. And it's wonderful to have somebody who's done this and can actually be in charge of every one of these boxes. I feel very confident.
And the theme for all these traffic box, control boxes that will be painted will be of the historic nature of...
Historic/nature
yeah.
in this area.
And so right now, there are 2 that are planned.
2.
Okay. And how long will it take? So if we were to approve this tonight, then when will this one across the street be
Done?
Yeah, approximately.
I'm going to say, we can go back and look. I think it's like maybe a 2-week situation. You know, she's already primed the one across the street. we start a little in advance. And then there'll be a background, and then she'll, so she also is a working person, so, but she's very enthusiastic. So,
And it's also in inclement weather too. I mean, she has
and
to make
yes,
sure that the
yeah.
weather's good enough for it to
spring,
paint.
so
and
it's
make sure
really
it
hard to
doesn't-
pin it down, but, as I've been in contact with her, she's been pretty busy. She was out in Amherst for a couple of weeks. Next thing I knew, she was in Holliston doing one, so, she takes it pretty seriously.
And so, how long, so currently, are those boxes, are they spray painted, or do they just rust and get ugly? Do we know?
So,
There is a coat on them.
There's a coat of paint on them.
yeah, she does a primer, she does a main
Yeah,
coat.
but
I'm just
Even
trying to
now,
see
what I'm thinking is,
how long will they last?
yeah,
I think she said about 10 years.
okay.
Yeah, and my feeling is, if we don't decide to redo them once that occurs,
You
we can
spray
always
a
just
paint over
spray
it.
paint over
Yeah.
them. I mean, that's the joy of
Urethane coating on it.
painting.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure she does. Some kind of protective coating.
She does, she has the full information and idea on it, so yeah.
I know that during several of the Rotary Traffic Study Committee meetings, the folks that are there, Chief Roby, Doug Small, Dan Mara, and Mike Duca, who actually is, he maintains the traffic boxes because of all the panels and stuff that are inside. That's his domain, and they fall under the fire department's purview. So Chief Roby had no problem with it. Everybody thought it was a great idea on that committee as well. So
Great.
they have our blessing on that as well.
I did notify the DPW
Yep.
and the safety
Yep.
building, so.
Yeah, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I think that this
I'm
project is
very
great.
excited about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I said to Tara, I'm gonna put a balloon on there. She said, no, you're not. Like, yeah, you're right, that's a bad idea.
So thank you for working on this. Do you have, was she able to get like a group of students that's going to be helping?
Surprisingly, and I was a high school teacher for
Yeah.
25 years, I personally would have expected to see a ton of enthusiasm.
Yeah,
And it's been a slog, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, which
Yeah,
is why
yeah.
we talked about it, and I suggested to her, we put it in the manager's newsletter, and we looked for residents as well, and also, some of these towns are using like Girl Scout troops and that kind of thing, and I thought, I don't have that information, but I know we can get it, and we have Girl Scout troops.
Well, it's one of those things too, once one is done, I think, it might inspire others, right?
Yeah, see,
Right.
that's my thought. My
Yeah.
thought is, once we do a couple,
Right.
and they're out there, that people are gonna be excited about
Yeah.
it, so,
We're gonna have that, we're gonna have decorated storm drains, we're gonna,
I've also spoken to Larry DeYoung, I met with him this summer about this, and he was excited, and he said there are plenty of artists in town who would probably enjoy doing it as well.
Oh, you need to
Well,
talk
you
to
need
the
to talk into your
microphone.
mic.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I spoke to Larry DeYoung, here I am, Larry DeYoung this summer, and, he's sort of our town artist, and he's very excited about it and felt that there were a number of people in town who would be interested in doing this as well. So, but if we open it up to everybody, we open it up to everybody,
Yeah.
whether they're
Yeah.
in school or, but we do have a student, she got a student, and that is almost finished, that particular drawing, so, and we will go through it in advance.
great.
I think this is great. Michael, Catherine, is there any concerns from the town side that they should be aware of?
I think Eversource is okay with things according to.
Eversource, I'll be honest with you,
This
from what I
has,
was told, Eversource has no responsibility to
this
those
has,
boxes.
yeah, this isn't an
Because,
Eversource
yeah.
situation.
From what we were told, and from good sources, so I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so do we need
Eversource
a,
boxes are underground anyway, now, downtown.
The vaults are,
Yeah,
yeah.
the vaults are, yeah.
do we need a motion to?
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion at this point.
All right, let's see here, go back to the, well, I will make a motion to allow the Ashland Cultural Council to oversee
Oversee, yeah.
the painting of some traffic boxes under the title Traffic Box Project in the community.
I will second that.
Second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 0, so it's 3-0, 2 absent. So you have our blessing. Good luck.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, we can't
I'm
wait to see it
excited.
done.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see them get done.
I'm very excited too.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Moving on.
2 years of work, there you
Yeah,
go.
a lot of
Thanks.
work. A
Thanks,
lot of
Don.
work and a lot of.
Thank you very
lot of
much.
sweat. Thank you. Okay. Moving right along. It's 8 o'clock, but I know that the person is here already. So would you mind if I advanced our discussion on the storm drain presentation? A stormwater drain presentation and painting coordination, seeing that we're going back to back on painting. Michelangelo is coming up to the podium.
Hi, Rob St. Germain, 64 Winter Street. I'm chair of the Stormwater Advisory Committee. One of the functions that the Stormwater Advisory Committee performs is we help the DPW to do some of the things that the DPW just doesn't have the manpower, the people power to do the time. So there is, as part of the permit, a requirement that we stencil, and I don't know the exact number, but we have 2,400 plus storm drains in town. We have done a fraction of them in the 8 years that since we started the Stormwater Enterprise Fund. So, so we have started to get people involved, and Larry DeYoung is one of them. And we had some volunteers from the high school science club that wanted to do one. They wanted to participate, and they want to do one back of the high school. The superintendent has already said okay. I don't know if that's sufficient or that's part of this discussion as well in terms of permission. We have, as part of our role again, and some of you witnessed it this weekend, on the Earth Day, where we had some Girl Scouts that participated last year in painting storm drains. They got really enthusiastic about learning how stormwater works in the community. And they put together a flyer, which I now have permission to display on the document table for people walking into town meeting. They produced a video, which I sent to all of you, and Adam has also authorized that to be shown as a committee report at the beginning of town meeting. And so this is over and above the stenciling thing. The purpose of the stenciling is just not to make the storm drains look pretty, but it's public awareness. And I think I mentioned to you the last time I was at the mic that some towns have experienced huge expenses with people putting doggy bags or areas with excessive litter, and that stuff goes into the storm drain, particularly if it's an open curb type of a drain. And the next thing you know, you got an impacted pipe. There's equipment we have to bring in. We don't own it to vac these pipes out. Sometimes the vacuuming is successful. Sometimes you end up replacing the pipe. So the more that we can do to create awareness, to educate the public that all of these storm drains, the water goes somewhere. And we clean the streets more rapidly now, so there's less stuff to go down into the storm drains. We have Green Up Ashland. It's all part of the web, if you will, this picture of helping to make Ashland cleaner and more environmentally responsible. So as part of this awareness project, a few years ago, we became aware, actually through the town of Natick, where they have a very active sustainability agent, and she, I think, hired someone. I don't know all the story there, but they painted at their main intersection of 27 and 135 4 storm drains there. It was written up in the paper, all of the normal, media announcements and things like that. So I don't want to do a lot of these. I mean, it's logistically, it's, it takes time putting this all together. But we do, as I said, have the high school club, the Girl Scouts that did the stenciling this weekend would like to do one. And I have shown them the one in the town hall parking lot, right in the center there. That particular storm drain had to be repaired a couple of years back because the folks who then owned Nick's were pouring things down into the drain. There have been similar problems at one of the Chinese restaurants in town, and people just don't know. It's not that they're doing something to be malicious. So we'd like to, pick a few and in a way let the participants decide with the committee's approval what the design will be. These that I put on the poster for you are just some that I gathered from around the country. There are literally probably hundreds of municipalities throughout the country that are doing this. So we'd like your general permission to do a handful. We'd like to do one like at the community center, Front Street near Farmers Market, maybe in the parking lot, maybe a couple along the edge of the road, places where people traffic.
Any questions or comments from the board?
No, I was just going to say, I think it's great. I think that, stormwater, storm drains, even just by attending your meetings a couple of times now, Rob, I've learned so much that I'm afraid I had little to no knowledge about. And certainly it all makes perfect sense when you start to think about bigger than, or you just start to think. Sometimes we just have to start to think about things, right? And this is a great idea. I really think it would be helpful for people to be able to see these things because it starts to makes you think, right? So I'd be excited to support this. Thank you for your work.
So I had the opportunity to see the Girl Scouts do their thing last weekend.
I need your pictures.
Oh, yeah, I do have pictures. I really should, yeah, I'll send you those pictures.
Thank you.
They did a really great job, and it didn't take that long, which I was impressed on how quickly they, basically they primed it, and they did the background, and then they had the stencil, and it came out great. So, and that is,
Picture of that?
I do. So that is, it's in the, over by the town hall sign off of Cherry.
Cherry Street, yeah.
So they
And
did.
it went out back here, too.
Yeah. So I'll show you guys the pictures too. But they did a really great job. So I think that this project is awesome because I think it really will bring awareness. I think you're right. I think people just don't kind of think about it, So I'm happy to support. I'm happy to support all of this, and wish you good luck. As far as funding goes for all the paints and stuff, where does that all come from?
It comes on the Stormwater Enterprise Fund.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're not spending a lot of money.
No. Yeah.
And, they buy the white paint in 5-gallon buckets, and we got some colors, and we've been experimenting with what the best techniques are, but, we've probably spent $190 or something like this right now. We have the material to do quite a number of drains. One of the concerns Makita did raise the last time was what happens after they fade or something like that.
Yep.
A $6 or $8, whatever the aerosol cans of black right now, or it could be eliminated in like 10 minutes. So if we ever get sick of them, or whoever succeeds me on the Stormwater Committee, they may come up with a different concept at some point in time, and that's just fine.
Okay.
Maybe use it as a contest. Come up with a design and use it as a contest
We
type
were
of deal.
thinking of a contest.
And
It's organization. It's the
Right.
it's the amount of time.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I know.
But I I don't know the woman who spoke before me, but I would like to interface with her and.
I'll give you her
You know, Larry is working with me relative, Larry DeYoung, the former art teacher at the school system, and for years. And, you know, the paint is interesting to work with. It's highway paint, and its characteristics are different. So Larry was in my basement last week, and we were blending colors and seeing what we could get out of it. And he's into it.
Oh, he, definitely, without a doubt.
And he's working with her, too. He's working with them.
Yes, I
Yeah,
heard.
yep.
That's why I want to talk to her.
The only thing I did want to say is, if you were looking for permission on school property, you have to go to the school committee for
Yeah,
that.
and that we have.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Because
Right
like
now,
we
we're
can't
just-
give permission for
We're
that.
just doing the one, but at some point in time, we may want to do one at the other school where parents drop their kids off.
Yeah,
Prime opportunity for eye contact.
Yep.
absolutely, absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I'll entertain a motion.
I
To
will,
approve.
I will approve the stormwater drain painting project being conducted by the Stormwater Committee
And DPW.
and DPW, so thank you to DPW.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's
Thank you
3,
very much.
0,
Thanks, Rob.
and 2 absent. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you very much.
for all your work. We appreciate all your help.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Old and new business. FY '27 budget, including operational override, update, vote, and accept the FY '27 budget at this time. So shall I turn that over to Michael? And okay, thank you, Rob. Appreciate it, buddy.
Can you just pull that, the warrant, just pull that sheet up? So just to give you an update on kind of where we are in terms of the process, we did meet with the Finance Committee, and they recommended the budget, the override budget, which you do have here. This is part of everybody's warrant. We've gone through the numbers quite a bit. I can either do that, I can go a little bit into the process. I know there were some questions about, why is there a town meeting vote? Or, how does the town meeting vote work vis-a-vis the ballot vote, et cetera? I can go in that direction either. How about I go ahead and do that?
That would be helpful. Talk a little bit about the process and the article and how all this was chosen to.
Sure. So anytime you do an override, you need there's two mechanisms that come into play. First of all, there is the vote to raise the taxes above the 2.5 limit, and that is the ballot vote. So you have to do that through a ballot vote. You can't do that through a town meeting vote. And then the second part of it is you actually have to appropriate that money. So you have to actually authorize what department, that goes to. And so that is what the town meeting vote is to authorize the expenditure that includes the additional money from the override. And so you have to have, town meeting has to vote on that.
So typically, when we have town meeting, when there's no override, the money that has been raised, the money that then we're going to vote on is money that's been raised through, our property taxes and that. So that includes basically 2.5% new growth. And so that money already exists.
Well, it's what we plan on collecting, yes.
Yeah. And so then we're just voting to appropriate it to how we're going to spend it, right? This year, because of the override, we're going to do the same thing, but we have the additional funds that we would raise from the override that we are then appropriating, saying this is how those are going to be spent.
That's correct. Let's just say you have a department of one in a town, right? And let's just say it's $2 million, and to fund it at $2 million, you meet your 2.5. That you have to go to the 2.5 cap. And if you wanted to do more than that, you would have to vote at the ballot to go over that, let's just say by $100,000. So, and then you would need to do a town meeting appropriation vote, like a budget vote, of $2.1 million. So you have the vote at the ballot to raise the taxes above the cap, and then you have the town meeting vote that authorizes where it's expended.
So, quick question, because I know that we've gotten some questions about, because when we had the building projects on the ballot and at town meeting, they were separate warrant articles. And that's because it was borrowing, correct? We were borrowing that money, so there was a separate warrant article for each of the projects because of that, and it needed 2/3, I think, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So, which is why it's a little bit different for an override, and we haven't had an override on the ballot in 10 years.
Correct.
So, so I think just walking, being able to kind of point to that is like important for people to understand why,
Yeah.
Why we're only presenting one budget, why we're only putting in the override within the budget warrant article. So, because it can be confusing.
Can be confusing, and what I just explained to you, I've developed a one-pager, and we can put that online, and it can be shared from wherever we post it to anybody who would
Okay.
want to use it.
So when, I know we'll probably talk about town meeting, I think we have, or maybe not. Do we have town meeting? We don't have town meeting.
I think this is a
But
good
this is
time
our-
to talk
but-
about it.
But, so when we do the town reports as part of town meeting, I just want to make sure, like, I don't know if FinCom is going to talk about that, because FinCom is going to present the budget, or if you or Cindy, or however we're going to do it, talks about that, or if it's the moderator. But I just want to make sure we're very clear at town meeting, like why things are structured the way they are, and why we're doing, and for instance, like why we're going to have two nights of planned town meeting. I just want to make sure that everyone kind of is on the same page and that it gets covered, so people don't feel like surprised at town meeting.
Yeah, I think between the people that you named, at least one of us would cover that.
Okay.
I would assume Adam, we
Yeah.
would need to check with Adam, but that sounds like something Adam would love to do.
Okay, as long as it's covered and we kind of know that kind of going into town meeting. Okay.
Okay.
And so the budget that will be presented at town meeting includes the override.
Yes, so it includes the override, which is 2.75 million, which you'll see that as part of the schools.
Right, in the schools. Yeah. And then, if it fails, then in either, it has to pass in both places. And if it fails, then that's why we already have a second night of town meeting scheduled, because then we'll have to vote a new budget. Now, I've been asked, why did we do it this way as opposed to another way? And I know that I remember, and this may have been different, because I'm not sure if it was an override at the time or if it was a school building, the high school at the time. But we had a special town meeting. There was also the town meeting and the ballot, were flipped in those days, so that the ballot actually happened first, and then you'd have, so we had a special town meeting in the Mindes gym to hold everybody, where there was a vote, and like I said, I'm not sure if it was the building or the override. And then we had a ballot after the fact. And that actually, I think it was the high school building, so it is a little bit different, but because it's a debt exclusion. But nonetheless, you still have to meet those two, criteria, that it has to pass in both places. And so we had the meeting in the gym, town meeting in the gym, and then a vote at the ballot. It won in the gym at town meeting, lost at the ballot by like 27 votes, because people didn't realize that they had to vote. I mean, I say this because I'm confident that the votes were there, because eventually we did do it again, and it passed overwhelmingly. So the the people didn't realize they had to vote in both places. Whether you're voting for or against, you need to vote in both places, the town meeting and again at the ballot. So could you explain a little bit about how that evolved with the attorney and everything?
Oh, there's a number of different structures. Like you mentioned, you could do the ballot vote before and have a special town meeting. And I think, another thing
That's an additional cost, right?
Right.
It's less expensive if you have to have a special town meeting than it is if you have to have a ballot.
Correct. Anytime you're running a special, whether it's an election or a special town meeting, it's over and above the cost we had anticipated, and you will incur costs. We looked at a couple of different ways. We looked at both doing the ballot before. We looked at doing what's called like a contingency budget in the sequence that we're doing now. And ultimately, the decision was made to keep it as simple as possible for people, to make it one town meeting with a ballot vote in between. And the first night of town meeting, which is May 6th, we will be voting on the budget, which contains the override number. And subsequently, the vote will happen on the 19th at the ballot. And if it passes at the ballot, we convene on June 3rd at town meeting again, just to dissolve town meeting. If it fails at the ballot, then we will need to go back on June 3rd to go ahead and redo the budget in a way that's within the Proposition 2.5 limits. And the stabilization fund. And that might be a good time. Catherine, I just sent you the non-override budget, because I know that's something that we haven't really covered, and I know there's been some questions about that as well.
People are requesting it as well.
I just emailed it to you because I didn't do it earlier, and it's a spreadsheet. And as Catherine pulls that up, and I'll explain it, the agreement that everybody came to was that if the ballot vote failed, we would look at transferring an additional $1.1 million from the stabilization fund and put that towards the Ashland Public Schools.
I was thinking, I thought it was like 1.4,
What did I say?
1.1.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is
1.4?
1.4.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. Because I know, like, we had, and I can go back in my notes, but, so we have the 750 that we're planning to move over from stabilization on the municipal side. There was like 650, if I remember correctly,
Good
to balance. I've been in these numbers. That's the one thing I can say. I've been
Yep.
up to my eyeballs in budget stuff. 650 to basically balance the budget. And then there was like 200 that we were
200.
going to basically front end, and then that would fall to free cash, and that will come back into the stabilization fund.
Correct.
Right.
And I'll explain a little bit more about that when we talk about the fields,
Okay.
which is on the agenda.
And then, so that would be, I think we were talking like 3 million,
It's 3.1 total.
3.1?
Yeah,
Okay. That would,
yeah,
if the override does not pass. Yeah,
correct.
okay. And our stabilization fund is at like around 8.1 right now?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. So it's a good chunk of our stabilization fund is what it really kind of,
Yeah,
so, it still keeps us over the 5%, which is the critical, like, baseline, but not where we've been, which is 10%, which is what is really the goal.
yeah. I do, if it does fail, I do worry about our bond rating. It's hard to predict what S&P would do. There's a number of factors that go into that, but yeah.
I mean,
I'm concerned.
I worry about the bond rating, certainly, but I think if it fails, the bigger concern really is the deficit we face down the road, right? That now we're using monies that aren't replenished And that then eventually, we have to come back to the town and ask again. And it'll be more than 2.75. And that's, sometimes that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. But if you dig into it a little bit, I think some of the, some of the meetings, the public forum, the interview that Makita did with Mr. Adams last week, they're very helpful in helping folks to understand what this means and how it helps us by doing it now, how it helps us down the road to minimize the hurt. And, one of the things that a friend of mine said to me a long time ago when we were talking about overrides and debt exclusions, and, he said, Claudia, the thing is that when you vote no on these things, it always comes back. It always comes back. And when it comes back, it costs you more. And, that's not to scare people or anything else. It's just reality, and I've lived that reality. I lived it with the high school. When the high school lost the first time, and we ended up taking the fields out to the tune of about $2.4 million. When we came back to the town, our reimbursement rate had dropped slightly, and we didn't have the fields any longer, and it cost us almost the same exact amount as it would have cost us if we had passed it the first time by 27, but with those 27 votes. I know that my husband sometimes talks about a story about the police station many years ago, and about not initially having a grant from the government for the police station, and the town not supporting their piece of that. And, within a few years, we built the town 100% out of their own pockets, a new police station. So, I mean, there is some reality to what happens when you have these needs. I mean, in this, when we talk too about, I think people do understand, we all are faced with increasing costs in our utilities and our food costs, and now particularly our gasoline costs. So we all know that these costs are not costs that we have much control over. And we face them in our individual lives, and collectively, the town and the schools face them as well. So it's tough because everybody does face these increased costs, and now we're asking for them to increase their costs with their property tax. And I mean, the simple number of Proposition 2.5 allows us to raise $1.3 million, and yet we have $1.2 million in health and benefits. Just that health and benefits line has increased $1.2 million. And then in terms of the schools, and Mr. Adams has worked really hard to, there are 13.2 positions that are being eliminated no matter what. I actually, read something that was written by someone who was angry about that. We're still losing a computer teacher at Mendes and a classroom teacher. But he's tried to pick and choose the least impactful losses for the school system. The costs that we face in the schools, our Keefe Tech assessment, those are significant increases that we have no control over. And I know that, especially I think nowadays, I know that I feel that I have so little control over what is going on in my life and my bigger life than just within my family. I don't have any control there either, but in the world, right, there's so little control. And here in this community, we do have the opportunity to have a bit of control for our public schools and what we've done for our police and fire in particular. So, you know, and again, not everybody, no matter whether they believe strongly or not, that we should be funding these things, they still might not have the money. And I understand that too. And everybody has to make those decisions for themselves. But I just want to make sure that everybody understands, you know, all the pieces of this, because it's not simple. It is somewhat complicated, and so I just want to make sure that as we go forward, people realize what the choices are and why some things are or have been, you know, it is our responsibility to bring forward to the community what we think best serves the community. And it's not that we're trying to take money from people or from ourselves or anybody else. It's that we're trying to offer people what we believe to be the best road forward.
And just very well said, Claudia. I think that's it in a nutshell. But, you know, the Prop 2.5 was never meant to be the end-all be-all. Prop 2.5 was meant to be the point where communities have the discussion. And I think we're having a really good discussion about where we want to go and what we want to do and how we want to get there and how we have control over those things. And it's been a very thoughtful process. I mean, and very thorough process and very public process. I know that there's been talk about, you know, things have changed, and yeah, things have changed because we've crunched the numbers and we've done the work, and we're trying to minimize the impact to taxpayers. So I think it's a thoughtful plan. I think it really is the best scenario for the entire community. So we can't control what happens a year from now. You know, who knows what's going to happen a year from now? But we can control this, and we can work to protect our community as much as we can. And that's
Minimize the impact as we go along.
And I think our community too, along with many other communities, are becoming, you know, inspired to fight back to our state government and say, we need to have more money coming back to us. And you know, there's certainly many ways to do it. Funding public education through property tax does not work. It doesn't work. And I think Massachusetts is one of the few states that does it that way. I shouldn't say that because I'm not 100% sure. But there are certainly other ways of doing it. And I know that those aren't popular discussions these days either. But, you know, I think the state government really owes us as a time to change.
And we can do both. So we have to deal with the situation that we have currently in front of us because we need a budget by July 1st. And we can continue to advocate for change at the state level, because I think we are reaching a tipping point when you start looking at the other communities that are in exactly the same situation, because the same fixed costs that we're seeing going up. I mean, some communities, I mean, the overrides that are on the ballot for so many of these communities are
Huge.
insane, like insane. And I know we're not Brookline, but like Brookline's got, I think it's a $23 million override on their ballot. There are communities that, there was one, now I can't remember the town, that just had an override fail, but they were going to increase taxes by 50%.
Oh, Hadley.
That's, yeah. I mean, you know, I mean,
That's a big boost.
that's crazy.
It is, yeah. I mean,
So,
thankfully, we haven't had to do that, and hoping we don't never have to do that. But
yeah, no, I mean,
we're
we've
not the only
managed,
ones in the same boat.
we've
We're
managed-
we're all in this together, and it's not an easy
yeah,
road
we've
to
managed
hoe.
finance as well over the
Yeah.
years, and and, you know, we've been able to put this off for a really long time. And
Well,
so-
and I'll give kudos to the folks to my far right, because under the conservative management program that you've done since you've been on board, I can say that not only have you increased cash flow reserve funds that we have. It was 600,000 at one point, now we're up to 8 million. That's over a 10-year period, 11-year period. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Well,
And it
it's
shows
been-
dedication and commitment.
Well, it shows discipline on everybody's part. The policies are only as good as how we follow them, essentially. And that comes from the select board and the finance committee and the school committee and ultimately town meeting. And that is one of the things that, like an S&P, is concerned about, is like, well, okay, you've got policies, do you follow them? And so they've been very, very impressed about the way we have followed them. So we're deviating a little bit from them. But they also know we have a track record, not only with this, but with our OPEB plan. They're happy with that as well. And I will say, I told this to FinCom last night, this has probably been the most challenging budget I've dealt with and we've dealt with, but I think also the boards have, and you've invested a lot of time as a board and as a tri-board group, getting to this point. It has not been easy, and to your point, yes, things have changed because you've gotten more information, you've gotten feedback. The state budget becomes a little clearer as we go through time. So yes, it is meant to be an iterative process. If everything could be locked in a year in advance, we wouldn't have, if we could foresee things that clearly, we wouldn't be in the issues, communities wouldn't be in the issues that they have, so.
Okay. So we have the budget, the non-override budget.
That is correct. And so Catherine, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down to schools, everything stays the same except for that one. And I see where I made my mistake there. It meant to be, that's where I got 1.1. It was in my head. That should be 1.4. And so that total should be 45,886, 864, the one to the left. If you see.
45.
Right in the middle. I'm sorry, I had made a mistake. I had put 1.1. I was saying that's where I got the 1.1
Oh,
from.
okay, so it's 1.4, and that's coming from stabilization.
That is correct. And so the 45,586 actually would be 45,886 because we would need to add the 300,000 that I.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing that.
All right, and then this mirrors the other budget with the exception of stabilization, just that line item for stabilization. Do we have anything for?
So this line so this is the budget, so this would be the school department appropriation.
Okay.
And the stabilization fund would change as well, so that would be Article 2.
Okay.
So, Michael, I have a question. The cemetery parks and trees line. So I know that we had talked about the creation of an additional department that would fall under DPW.
Would be separate from DPW.
Separate.
So currently it is part of DPW, and so it would be separate from that.
Yeah, so something, I was thinking that, I know there's going to be some changes in that department anyways, and that number might need to be reconsidered, adjusted.
It could be. I think we probably wouldn't put that into effect until later this year, kind of, giving some of the things that are happening, just to make sure that we got the right people in place. So that might take a little time. So yeah, that appropriation is based on a full year.
Yeah, so, and would we have some conversation about that before it even was implemented later on in the year?
I'd certainly brief you on it, of course.
Okay, because honestly, I felt like we didn't have much of a briefing on that till we saw it the night of one of our meetings. So I just feel as though that still hasn't been vetted out for me.
Okay.
And so I'd really, now with changes and everything, I'd like to make sure that we're ready to do what was planned, because I'm not sure we are anymore.
Well,
I mean, I kind of wasn't sure anyways, that it seemed like
right.
a lot of big things that we hadn't, that I didn't have a good understanding about.
I can understand that, and yeah. So in between giving you that more full briefing, I think the budget document has pretty laid out perspective and kind of the rationale behind it under that department. So that'd be a good place to start, and then if you have any questions and everything, we can talk about them, and then bring it and have that discussion.
Yeah, I just don't want it to move forward automatically at this point. So,
That's, how do we make that decision?
Well, that does start getting more into like the operational pieces, but I don't think it precludes getting feedback from the board by any means.
yeah, I mean, I absolutely understand that it's walking a fine line, but at the same time, I feel as though, we should always be on board, even if we're not even 100% agreement. I think we should always, be kind of brought along when big decisions are being made, right? And that's just what I'm requesting. I'm not asking to run anything or to, tell you how to run things. I'm just saying that I'd like to have complete understanding of what the plan is.
Clay, I think it's perfectly understandable. To help you understand it more and kind of explain, rationales and everything behind that. Okay.
Especially since we're going to have to figure out like how to permanently fund it because it's not currently in the operating budget.
That's
So.
correct.
So I think that's where we're, we want to make sure that it's vetted. Right.
Yeah, you want to, you want to understand what it is. That makes total sense. If somebody asks you, geez, I don't know why we're, putting together a buildings and facilities and grounds separate department. Yeah, I don't think that's a good answer. I don't think your constituents would think that either. Right. So, yeah, can do that.
Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay. Review debt schedule.
Well, let's vote on we have to vote
Oh, yeah,
on
that's right, we have to vote on that, that's
We
great.
have to vote on the budget.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the operational override budget as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's 3-0, 2 absent.
And thank you to
Yep.
to Michael and Cindy and FinCom and everyone and staff.
Involved in this procedure. It's been a long haul, and still have ways to go, unfortunately.
Yeah, I really have to say for the finance team, for it to be your first year as finance director and town accountant and Don's second year, and to go through this budget process, that's a trial by fire.
Yeah, it's not yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Hopefully we don't have to
have it happen again.
repeat anytime super soon, so.
Keeping my toes crossed.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
There was another item that was added to, before we go through the debt schedule, there was another item that was added to the,
Okay, I didn't get the new printout, so.
the item is to vote to support the 2.75 million operational override for the FY '27 budget.
Okay.
I know that, we've talked about the operational override. So I actually asked to put this on the agenda because I felt like it was important for us as a board, and I know we're only 3 tonight, but to vote to support it so that when we are at town meeting, we can basically speak on behalf of the board.
Yeah, I think that we owe it to the community to stand up and say what we believe and what we think. And like I said, that is our responsibility to try to put forth, the best path forward for the community, even in difficult times, as hard as it is. And that's what we've tried to do. So
All right, so I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to vote to support the $2.75 million operational override for the Ashland Public Schools for the FY27 budget.
Second.
Second on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's 3-0 and 2 absent. So the select board supports the override figure and the efforts that are going forward. And at this time, I want to thank the citizens group that got together to really work hard to provide the information. Spend many, many hours of sitting down, talking with people, being available to answer questions. And those are the two young ladies to my far left. Thank you both for all your efforts in doing this. Amongst everything else that you're doing, it's greatly appreciated. And I'm sure, we haven't got a lot of pushback because there's information out there that's being provided that is answering questions before the questions need to be asked. And I want to thank you for doing that. Okay, moving onward. I can't say upward, but moving onward. Review the debt schedule. Michael.
Yeah, so this is something that was asked to be put on the agenda, and that will also include this as part of our budget document, going forward. But just a relatively simple debt schedule that shows you the date of the issue, what the original balance was, what the outstanding balance will be as of the end of this fiscal year, and what it will be at the end of the next fiscal year. And essentially kind of what the category is and a more specific description of it, whether it's inside the limit or outside the limit, and then also the date that it falls off on the far right. That's the date it falls off the debt schedule. So just, there's a couple of big issues I just want to, issues meaning bond issues, not issues as in problems. But one in particular, like you'll see one for, the 6.8, that was the Mendez roof. But if you go down a couple, you'll see one that's like for 7.9 originally, one that was done in 2019. So that was a combination of different projects. I don't remember exactly which ones, but we could get those. But a number of like smaller projects that we rolled up into one issue.
So, Michael, looking at these figures, will some of these be coming off?
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the right, Joe,
Yeah.
that's when they
Final
fall off.
column.
That's when they fall off, okay.
Yeah.
That's, all right. Thank you.
So one thing that would be helpful on this too would be what the cost to the taxpayer. So I don't know whether you would do it, whether it would be by per 1,000 of your assessed value, or if it would be better to show it just as an average home value, or...
Yeah, we could probably do it based on what the average home value is. I think it would be hard, especially the ones that say whether it's both inside and outside the levy.
Yeah.
I think it'd be tough to split those up.
Yep.
But we could provide, like for each of those issues, what it would cost for a taxpayer with an average single-family home value.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful for people to see in terms of debt exclusion numbers, how much they're paying every year, right?
Yeah, even if it's not a debt exclusion, even if it's just something that's paid inside the levy, to see how much of your tax bill
Right,
is
right.
going towards that
Yeah.
would be
Right.
helpful. Yeah.
And then, so, yeah, because there's a lot of inside the debt limit here. And then in terms of the public safety and the Mendez school building, so Mendez still has, I think, worst case scenario, $6 million left to bond, which won't be bonded this year. It's not going to be bonded until next year.
That's correct. I think that's the worst case scenario, like you
Right.
said, Claudia.
Yep. And so everything else, for those two buildings has been bonded,
Correct.
right? Because even though, you know, for example, Mindus was 84 million, and what was the final number on the 27, on the public safety?
Yeah, so total construction, yeah, 23.3 is what we bonded.
Yeah. So there's significant savings there, as expensive as the buildings were, right? We had we received a lot of, from especially the School Building Association funding.
Yeah, MSBA, I think they
it was
provided like 35 to
50s.
40. Oh, was
Yeah.
it 50?
But you know what? No, I'm not going to say that. Take it back. I'm not sure. I think it might have been
Yeah, and we were.
37, 38.
And, you know, I remember when we did the public safety building bid, we were very fortunate.
Yes, I know.
Thanks to
And
COVID.
that was very rare.
Thanks to COVID. All the construction materials and costs.
I know,
were-
but then,
were built up.
then pre-COVID, just,
Pre-COVID, yeah.
because then right as COVID hit, the
Everything
school
went
building
down,
got
right.
killed,
But
right?
our construction folks
Yeah.
were smart enough to realize that they saw something coming down the road and they,
Well, some of it's just lucky timing, right?
oh, it was lucky timing. And we'll take it.
So Michael, the 2021 project, that was like 11.1, it says multi-purpose. Do you know what that one is either?
That would have been a number of issues that,
Okay.
that had rolled up. I don't have the exact ones, but I can get those with the projects.
So when we say it's outside of the debt limit, were those things like the Valentine estate? Like I'm trying to kind of, because those would have been on the ballot, right? Because it's excluded debt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was thinking, is like things like, you know, the Valentine is on here somewhere.
Yeah, yes.
That might have been the
Valentine-
that might have been the multi.
That's why I'm thinking it's got to be pulled into something.
Yeah, it's one of those two
Okay.
that was done in 2019 or 2021.
Okay.
The energy conservation bonds, that's the one that's actually saving us about $1 million. That was for the performance contract. That's the one that's subsidized, that we were awarded. And then what I was having a hard time with is, and I finally figured out what it was, the 6.8. That was all refunding. And what is refunding? Well, that's the municipal term for refinancing. Why they call it refunding, I don't know, because it's probably the same reason they call free cash.
Yeah. So you're talking about the one that was 2011?
Mm-hmm. But anyway, hopefully this will be helpful for people.
Yeah. No,
Especially
this is
seeing
good.
when it falls off.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful.
So thanks to Cindy putting this together.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cindy.
And then I think budgetary-wise, the last one we have is the high school, or high school, the
Enterprise
athletic
fund?
fields. Yeah. And so I'm going to try to explain this as simply as I can. So the enterprise fund for the fields was created through a home rule petition, so it was created through special legislation. We cannot take money in an enterprise fund and transfer it to a general fund department. So what we're looking at doing is, right now, is actually transferring the maintenance and the scheduling of the school fields back to the schools. Now, the enterprise fund contains a lot of that revenue and expenditures related to the schools. But like I just said, we can't take money from an enterprise fund and give it right to a general fund department. And the superintendent's plan calls for making some capital purchases to help with their maintenance. So they need money right away. So what we're doing is we're transferring $200,000 out of stabilization to go towards the schools to make those capital purchases. Next year, a warrant article will be filed that dissolves that enterprise fund, and the balance of it will then flow, because it will be dissolved, will flow to free cash, and it'll go back to stabilization.
Okay.
Was that, I tried to make it as unmechanical as I could, so.
I
Okay.
think that makes sense.
No, that
Yep.
makes sense. Yep. That's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. And then, oops, I
Yep.
lost my agenda.
We're good on that. We
Bench
already did
policy,
that.
we did
Yeah,
that, so
we-
reminder,
reminder.
in-person voting.
Yep. Reminder of early voting for May 19th, 2026, annual town elections to be held Saturday, May 9th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and during regular business hours from May 11th, 2026 to May 14th, 2026. That is for early voting, and that's at Town Hall.
Is it from May 11th to May 14th, or is it May 11th and May 14th
It says two, May 11th to May 14th.
for early voting? So any of those days?
Yep.
I want to double check on that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
kind of think it's, I think it's
I
and, not
apologize
two.
if I missed that.
I think it's,
Two and end are two different things.
Yeah, well, it's like in legal terms, you know, or versus and,
Yeah.
or shall versus may. Would you like me to move forward with an update on 40B projects,
we're
or would
ready.
you like me to wait for Brandy to?
Oh, we can wait.
did we figure out whether it's two or and? I think it's and, but I'd like to figure that out.
Okay.
I can't find it right now, because it was on the front, and now it's not.
Yeah, I'm looking at the new one.
Oh, hold on one second. It's Monday through Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So it's every day,
It's every day. Okay.
okay?
So we were right.
Nice work. Okay. 40B?
40B.
Yep.
So if you'll just give me 1 second. Pull up my update here. Okay. So just with 10 to 60 Main Street, and specifically in regards to the Conservation Commission. So they ended up having their site visit on March 16th. Again, they are in a place where they're continuing to ask for information, but have not received what they've requested. The next hearing is scheduled for May 4th. Yep, and they're intending to have a discussion on the contamination issues, and so only on the contamination issues. So that is soil management, dewatering, erosion control, stormwater system envelopes, and then discussion on stormwater is not going to commence until the discussion on contamination is complete. And then they're going to go into floodplain regulations, and then other Wetlands Protection Act regulations. So that's with 10 to 60. On 61 Waverly Street, so that project did receive their permit from Conservation. They have a number of conditions, including the one that they have to replace that 12-inch pipe in the road, and that connects a stone box culvert under Waverly Street. So that is Conservation, and then the 40B, the comprehensive permit process, excuse me, is specifically related to 55 West Union Street. So they've gone ahead, they've done the peer review for civil with Haley and Ward. The main issue right now is the placement of the sewer line. They're still having figuring that out. And so a lot of people have weighed in on that. And so that is the outstanding issue that they're still working on. But that is a major issue.
Yeah, it's a major issue.
All right. We just finished update on 40B projects. I can move on to Cross Street if you would like.
0 Cross Street.
Yeah, so just to give you an update on kind of where things are overall. So I've reached out to Agilitas after getting the name of the project manager, His name is Sam, and I hope to get a response from him soon, because I'd like to talk to him about some of the original commitments that Agilitas, or the original permitting company had made. But from a department perspective, so, you know, we had an applicant who has engaged with a purchase and sale with that owner, Agilitas, who was looking at doing a new septic system. In order to do that, there has to be certain wetland requirements that are met, including an RDA. And so our departments have reached out to the applicant, let them know exactly what's supposed to happen, that they have to answer the questions from our departments, and we still haven't received anything. So, and so they have also been advised, if the applicant ever does respond back, that we should respond back, and this is on the advice of our council, that we should say that the land is designated as open space, and how can it be developed when it's designated as open space? Yeah.
So in the meantime, instead of just waiting to see if they take any further action, can we kind of push this to resolution so that it just comes off the table? It seems like, you know, we should be able to do that. It's in the deed, you know, I know it's rather complicated in terms of how it's even evolved to this point in time, but I know that Mr. Hackinson has been, you know, from the Conservation Commission, has been very involved in terms of working with the neighboring owner, and also trying to work with Hopkinton and others. And is this something that we could encourage him to continue to do on behalf of the town, so that we could just kind of put this to bed?
I think, so the original, if I remember correctly, the original intent was to donate that piece of property to HALT, which is the Hopkinton Area Land Trust.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Carl has a relationship with them that I don't have, so we would need to have them be on board. And hopefully that is what Agilitas decides to do, which is donate the property like the original intention was. And so we need to have Carl's relationship expertise with HALT to be a part of that as well.
Okay, so then how should we move forward? What does it look like?
Well, I think we should give some time to try to get in, now that we have the right person, to get in contact with that person and see if they would be amenable to that donation, just because it's the right thing to do, and after kind of hearing some of our stances about it being open space, et cetera. And if that doesn't work, then I think we would need to meet to discuss the next steps.
Okay, and would that be a public hearing, or would that be in executive session because of potential litigation?
I would say the initial meeting would definitely be an exec.
So have we reached out to the correct person now?
We've reached out to the correct person, yes.
All right, and so how much time do we give them to respond?
I would say till today's Wednesday, reached out again on Monday. I would say till the end of the week.
Okay. And then the next step, remind me again, what the next step would be?
I think if we don't hear anything from them, or they are not amenable to that, I think, like I said, the board would need to meet probably in exec to talk about what the next step would be.
Okay. In the meantime, should Mr. Hackinson be talking to HALT, or?
I think that's happening, yes.
Okay. Okay, I just want to keep things moving. It just feels like this has been.
This is lingering. Yeah, I understand.
Yep. Well,
at the same time, it is very it's a one parcel that has a lot kind of wrapped into it.
Yeah, and I understand it, you know, but sometimes it seems so simple too. It says in the deed, right? So, I mean, I thought a deed superseded anything else.
well,
Claudia, I also thought a signed gift agreement meant that land would be donated.
Don't even go there.
Did I take the words out of your mouth?
You did. You did. Just don't go there. And also 1060 Main Street. There's something on the deed that says there'll be no, residential housing on the deed. And has that been,
Well, that's from,
well, it's still on the deed. How do you,
It's,
it is what it is.
it should be simple, let's put it that way.
Usually simple isn't. We'll go with that. All right, moving on. Thank you. Liaison updates. Do we have any?
sure, I attended Community Preservation Committee meeting last night. It was very informative. There was discussion about a parcel of land that bisects town forest, and it's also a critical habitat. And so there was a lot of discussion about using CPA funds, which can only be used for certain things, to purchase this piece of property. And then that information, so that committee did, spend quite a little bit of time hearing information from Mr. St. Germain, who has been working diligently and to try to get that property for the community to be able to add to our town forest. And so they were able to come to an agreement in terms of being able to move forward in negotiations with the owner, and then bring that number, that information to the FinCom, who were then able to also agree to support that. So that will be ongoing over the next couple of weeks. It would be really nice if it was resolved in that period of time. Again, it's a very nice piece of property. It really doesn't lend itself to being developable at this point. And so it would be nice, again, because it does include the critical habitat and also, would be connect our town forest. So it's about 11.4 acres, so it's a significant piece. I have actually had the pleasure of walking it, I don't know, maybe last fall or last spring even, with Mr. St. Germain. It really is a beautiful piece of property, and it would certainly be, a crowning jewel for our town forest. And so I want to thank that committee. They're, the conservation, the Community Preservation Committee is made up of, they have some at-large members, but they are also made up with representatives from other committees in the community. And so it was really, when I was sitting there last night listening to everyone, and then we went across the hall to the FinCom, and I thought about all the work that's done by volunteers in our community, and there in that group, because there's many fingers in different committees, it's really amazing the amount of work that takes place by volunteers and people who are really invested in Ashland and doing the right thing for our community and for the world. I've been to a couple of their meetings now, and it's really a very feel-good meeting.
A lot of dedicated people,
A lot of dedicated people.
without a doubt.
Yep. Okay, I guess that is the only, the other one is the Stormwater Committee, and they haven't met since our last meeting, so thank you.
Brandy?
I have nothing to report on my committees. I'm really sorry.
Good for you.
No, not good for me. Not good for me. I will resume liaison work after May 19th. So, and my apologies to my committees for my absenteeism. So,
I think they'll understand. If they don't, then 10 lashes with a wet noodle. The only one I have right now is the Roadway Traffic Safety Committee. We met and discussed several issues. One has to do with the planning and designing of certain sidewalks in town, especially the one up on High Street. It's going to take some engineering issues, big time, especially with the fall off on both sides of the road at different locations. So you'd have to put the sidewalk on one side and then maybe create a crosswalk over, so they could. So that's in the planning stage, and I know people would like to see that done, but it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take some land away from a lot of people who have some pretty nice land, right up to the side of the road, and that may be taken, and I'm sure they're not going to be too happy about that. But the safety of the residents that use that street quite often.
Yeah,
They
a lot
get
of
to the
people
train
walk on
station,
that.
Yeah, they walk all the time, and the kids riding their bikes and stuff too, coming back from school. Now they come off the emergency road
Yep.
and come up, so, yeah, it's, hopefully they'll understand that. The other aspect that they were talking about, and I'm not sure if we have any new updates on that, and then maybe I can ask you to. The state was talking about replacing the Corderville Road Bridge, and it was supposed to be sometime in the spring. Well, the spring is come and gone, so I don't know if that has changed time-wise, if the time table has changed on that. Because we're talking about shutting down Corderville at certain junctures so that other traffic, go-through traffic could get through there without coming down to that bridge and stopping at Ponderosa Road. That's because my throat is starting to tighten up on me. So we just need to be aware of that and watch side traffic at that point in time as well. So I don't know if there's anything new in that from the state. I know they've been
I
talking
haven't
about
heard
it.
anything
You haven't
new.
heard anything new? Okay, all right. And that's basically it. I don't have anything else. I do have a couple of board reports. We can do board.
Joe, I was just going to ask, is there an update on, what about the Cedar Street sidewalk?
Oh, that's good. That'll be the first one that gets done.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that's the first one. The second one will definitely be the Main Street, the High Street road work. But hopefully that'll be coordinated with the bridge work at the same time,
Yeah.
so we don't interfere with that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully that'll happen. And the other quick note was potential gates on Captain Ames and Algonquin. There's ongoing issues going with that right now, and the different associations that are part of that are just being made aware of certain matters, and it's being dealt with. So we'll see where that goes. So that's always for the next meeting to come up with any new updates from the new people that have been put in position recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where we're at with that. At that, I'll, think town manager, we did consent already, so we're looking at town manager reports.
Yeah, and I'll, just being cognizant of time, I'll run through those. So update on downtown, so our cutover is, so for Eversource to cut over the electricity to underground is scheduled for early May. So what you'll see is once they are done, they will actually cut the pole to the next wire. And so Verizon and Comcast then have to come in, and they're aware and they're on schedule. And so the poles come down a foot at a time, pretty much. At least to start. So that's how, Verizon and Comcast
But
know
every
which pole
pole
to do.
comes, how many poles are there that are coming down, do we know?
I want to say 60 something. I have no, like,
Jeez.
that is,
And
that's in
everyone,
my head.
now when they cut it down a foot at a time, they do all 60 if it's theirs?
That's a good question. I believe they would just go insert as they're doing the cutoffs or cutovers. So it would probably wouldn't happen within a day, but you would probably
Yeah.
see it happen, within the course of a week or two.
And how many, it's Comcast, it's,
Comcast, Verizon, our fiber, I believe RCN uses one of Comcast or Verizon's lines,
there's-
and Eversource.
so there's five, five?
Four.
Four.
Because one uses the
Oh,
Eversource
you said
Comcast.
uses, okay. So the 4 feet have to be done individually, and then they'll take the whole thing? Who takes the whole thing?
Yeah, Claudia, I don't know if it was an exact foot. I was just
Well,
saying
I
a
know,
foot
I'm
at a time.
just, I know. I'm just
You could
saying,
be up there with a tape measure.
there's, yeah,
I'm gonna
So-
measure its progress by how close it is to my
to the
height.
ground. Yeah, there we go. And who's responsible for that? The final piece,
The cutting,
the final,
the final piece, Eversource is responsible for taking the poles out. 102 Property Maintenance will be coming back, and they will be the ones who will like do the concrete pads where the holes are.
so do we have a time frame about this whole project?
The cutover is for Eversource is in early May. That's the best I can give you. I'm sorry.
That's a couple
Okay.
of weeks.
Yeah. We went ahead and reviewed the town meeting and the process earlier. And then the Boston Globe did an article, and Brandy, I think you should speak to
Yeah.
that when it's coming up.
So we were, a journalist from the Boston Globe magazine was doing an article and reached out to us for an interview. So Ashland was selected as one of the top spots to live west of Boston for 2026, which is really cool. We are the top spot in the 750,000 to 1 million. They have three kind of categories of price ranges, where it's like, under 750, and then 750 to 1 million, and then over 1 million. And then they have like a runner-up, and then a other town to kind of consider. So it was a really good conversation. The reporter was great, and she didn't know anything about Ashland before we talked. In fact, she didn't even know we were on the marathon route. So, so there was a lot of, but by the end of it, she's like, it sounds like a really great place to live. And I'm like, yes, it is. So, but congratulations to Ashland. They base it on basically the increase. They start with the increase in home values over the last 5 years, and Ashland has, as we know, it's a desirable place to live. So we've seen our housing prices increase substantially over the last 5 years, and but it's a great honor for Ashland. And just on a personal note, Hopkinton was the 1 million and up.
Yeah.
And if you read the Ashland part and then the Hopkinton part, we sound much cooler than Hopkinton. Just saying. Yeah. So anyway, but it was good.
Yeah, thank you for handling that. That was well done, and it was very exciting to read that.
Yeah, a little bit of fame in the for the little town,
Yep.
Well, it's nice to see a lot of the work that's been done over the years collectively kind of
Some acknowledgement.
acknowledgement, yeah. And like you said, it's a catch-22 because on one hand, we're all proud of the fact that Ashland's becoming more and more desirable because it means we're improving quality of life. At the same time, it drives housing prices up, and we want to make sure it's affordable for people.
And that's kind of where we were in the conversation
Yeah.
too with the reporter. So
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. It was a great article.
And then-
Miss Catherine.
Yeah.
So just a quick update on the community center improvement project. So the prevention and human services space is really taking shape. I visited Friday, I believe, and so full walls are up, which is really exciting. I saw some paint on the walls, which is even more exciting. And so that's really it for the human services space there,
Nice.
and the food pantry as well.
That's awesome. When you start seeing furniture moved in, that'd get even more exciting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's kind of to see that space transform. It was a really smart solution to a number of problems that we had. So it was appreciate everybody coming up with that and working towards it. Warren Barn, Beth's been working on that one, so that's pretty close to the walls are going up and going vertical. So that'll be exciting too.
Drove by
to
there
see.
yesterday.
Yeah, it's starting to take shape.
Yep.
And then finally, something I really want to credit Jim Nee and our representative to the MWRTA, Ed Berman. So one of the things that they have been working on is redesigning all the bus routes for the MWRTA. And it has been communicated to Ed how much we need a line or you know, a route that goes through downtown Ashland, especially if we have something that is built at 10 to 50 Main Street that then goes to the train station on this side, on the north side. And so with the latest iteration of the new routes, they were successfully able to do that. So kudos to them and Chief Berman, who's our representative still on the transit line, for making that happen. So it'll come down Waverly, come down Fountain and Front a bit, take a right onto Main, and it's a flag down type of system, so they don't have like bus stops, but yes, and then that'll go directly to the train
Oh, so they
station.
won't have scheduled stops at a certain time frame?
Correct, they do the
Just the
wave, yeah, the wave down.
But there's certain time frames, right?
Yeah, when they'll be at certain
Yeah,
locations.
spots.
Yeah,
Yeah, but, yeah.
yeah.
But you could be any place, you just wave them down?
Yeah, you just wave them down. Yeah.
And those ones with like trolleys?
Well, they're small buses, yeah. Yeah, MWR, yeah, with the green.
The little white buses,
Little white
like
buses.
little white vans, or like extended van
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and speaking of,
Trolley too
Yeah,
that
I
you
was gonna
see.
say,
Yeah.
I've seen the trolley
Yeah.
recently, yeah.
Yeah.
It's cute, it's actually very nice.
and my next, the next announcement for the MWRTA will be related to a van that they were able to get us for our
Oh, wow,
community center.
that's awesome.
For what?
A van
For what?
for the community center, the senior
good.
services.
Who's our van driver?
That is it Bill Beaton?
Billy.
Bill Beaton still.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So do you know when this new schedule's gonna take effect?
They're still getting public comment on it.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then I think it's, I don't have the exact date, but I'll check.
Okay. Could we, when it does kind of go live, can we kind of do a
Yeah.
little bit of a big splash with it, just to make sure people are aware of it? Because I would say a good chunk of people are not aware of the MWRTA.
WRTA.
And it's such a great service, and, you know, we can talk about I don't know if they're still free, but it used to be free. I don't know if they're still,
I
if they're
think
back.
there's a fair
There's a
that
fair
they put
again?
back.
Okay, I know it was during
COVID.
COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
They were free, but yeah, if we could provide some information, because it would be great to have just people more aware of, you know, utilizing it more in Ashland, and then, you know, especially to deal with traffic and get some.
We have those electronic signs now too that we could utilize and advertise.
That we can get people off the roads,
Yeah.
less traffic, especially if they're going, say, to the train station, or, you know.
Yeah, or people who don't drive, or,
Yeah.
Right, right.
And they have another service too that where they will pick up elderly and disabled people and basically take them door to door, which is a great thing that I'm sure our community center helps our seniors connect with.
The ride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool.
So, but anyway, thank you, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And thank you to Ed for
Yeah, thanks.
for advocating.
Yep.
And that's what I had.
Thank you, sir. Board reports. Ms. Claudia.
I don't really have too much in the way of board reports. I know the one thing that's, I guess, on my mind a little bit is I know we were waiting for our attorney to respond with some answers to some questions that have been put out there. I don't know, Michael, if you can follow up on that.
I actually sent an email to a resident just because that was asked to me on Saturday, just to make sure I had the right questions to follow up on. I had a couple, so.
All right, good, thank you. Keep me in the loop on that too, will you?
Okay.
That's it for you?
That's it, I missed all the festivities on Sunday. We had a wedding, so I was sad to miss them, but we had company in for the long weekend too, so.
So I would say thank you just to Becca Solomon and Sam Riley for an awesome Earth Day on Sunday. What an event they put together. That's like awesome. Congratulations to them. There was live music, there was food, there was all these activities. I saw Michael there, I saw Beth there. It was a good time. Like, you know, the weather was, it held off, you know, like it wasn't the sunshiny day, but the weather was decent enough for Earth Day.
It was a great day. It was a great day.
But actually, the day got better as the day went on.
It
To
did.
get warmer.
Yeah, I wish
Yeah.
I had brought my sunglasses.
Yeah, because our wedding was later in the afternoon, and it just got better and better, yeah.
So congratulations to them. We have a big weekend coming up this weekend.
Yes, we do.
There is lots to do in Ashland. So on Saturday, Green Up Ashland is hosting their annual townwide cleanup day. I know that they still have, I think it's walk-up registration at this point. I think they're closed their online pre-registration. But they're over at the Stone Park Pavilion from 9 to 12 on Saturday for people to sign up, to pick up their bags. I'm sure there'll be green T-shirts for all, and whatever other swag they generally have. And so come, and whether it's an individual or a group, and you pick up part of town and you pick up trash, and it makes a ton of difference. So post Green Up, you can really tell that it just, the town just looks so much better. And it's before the poison ivy really comes up.
Kicks
so,
out, yeah.
Yeah,
So, but beware of the poison ivy, people, 'cause it's, yeah.
yeah, you don't realize how much of a difference it makes, it really does.
So thank you to the Green Up folks. The Ashland Public Library is hosting their mini Ren Fair over at the Farmers Market lot. I think that is from 10 to 3, and there is a ton of vendors, performances. I think there's like a harp player and some other, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think there's like a king and queen, and, you know, there's people that are coming all dressed up. So, so anyway, come check it out, because it'll be a fun day over at the library, and a spectacle. Yes, it'll be fun. Come get a turkey leg, I'm sure. And then the Friends are having their book sale at the same time too. So there's lots going on downtown, and I think there was something else.
Yeah, there is. Select board hours.
No, we're not having
Why not?
select board hours, because
Did
there's
we-
so much going on. We had talked about that.
Oh, okay.
I think
'Cause
at our
was-
last.
Well, you just saved me from not going down there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
Yeah, no, because it's just, there's
Okay, all right, that's
so much
fine.
going on that day.
Okay.
I think we'll hold off on that.
Thank you.
And so, but speaking of select board hours, I know we had talked at our last meeting that I was going to.
No, I think Makita
Makita, I know. She was voluntold.
Well, I'm told. Is
But
that a
I know
new word?
she's,
Is that a new,
oh, it's not a new word, but it's,
well, new to me?
but I'll talk to Makita and make sure, like,
Yeah.
everything's in a good place with that. So, for the farmer's market season, so.
Yep.
And I think that's really it for me. So, folks, just make sure you come out to town meeting next week. That's like the big thing.
May 6th.
May 6th, 7 o'clock. Get there a little early. We are expecting a lot of people. I know we didn't really talk about the plan, but I don't know, maybe Catherine wants to talk about like overflow and
Yeah.
all of that stuff too.
Sure. So check-in starts at 6:15, and we'll have, I believe it's 4 extra tellers there to check people in. And so we'll fill up the auditorium first, and once that's full, we have an overflow in the cafeteria. Both rooms will be set up so that everyone in each room can participate fully as if they were in the auditorium. So we'll have tellers, our our deputy town clerk will be in there as well, so.
And I did get one question actually yesterday. A resident asked if there was like a max on how many kids that can sign up for childcare, like if there was only room for like 20 kids or whatever.
I would have to ask Kelly.
Okay. But folks should register their child in advance.
Yes.
Before.
Yes,
before
that's
town
very,
meeting.
very helpful.
So.
Yep.
And they can do that, the link is on the town website? Okay.
Quick question, and I know it was asked, and I'm sure you all saw that email. Will we have a ADA sign person for those who are hard of hearing? That may be watching on TV or coming in person?
So there's actually language at the bottom of the, not the first page of the warrant that says if you need any sort of assistance
Okay.
to contact us, and I have the due date, it's just not opening right now. I believe it's May 1st, but.
Okay, well, that was a question that was asked.
Oh,
The
here
person
we
that asked it was,
Yes.
has
Yep.
a hearing disorder, so.
Yep, so anyone in need of special arrangements for town meeting, it's on the first page of the warrant. They will just need to contact our office. There's a phone number listed there by May 1st.
Okay, so have them contact you, be probably the.
Yep, town manager's
nice
office.
thing.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
okay, great, thank you. All right, you took everything that I was gonna have to say, so that's good. I apologize for not being there. I was playing nurse this past weekend, and, but everything is good. Everything is good. So, she'll be back out. Don't worry, kids, she'll be back out there. She can't wait to get back out there. And, oh, believe me, it's a lot better than me getting yelled at, that's for sure. You know. Anyway, our next meeting is May 20th, but again, remember, May 6th is the town meeting, and May 19th is Election Day. So, please remember those 2 dates. Get out early and vote early and often, as Mayor Curley used to say. Right? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, good night, and have a great weekend.